here we are with kind of round 2 here on the Tacoma. We've had the suspension kit on here for about a month now. Much better than it was before, but just need a little bit more on that rear end to help out with the heavy loads. I do fluctuate a lot with being a contractor and having a little bit of weight and a lot of weight and so on. So these are going to help out a lot with just smoothing all that out and helping to carry that extra weight when needed, but more so not just destroying my suspension when I go over a bump or something and prematurely wear the springs out. This is going to help a lot to just lengthen the life of the suspension and complement the function of it as well. So there's 2 components. This is the part that the hydraulic bump actually lands on and hits. So this sandwiches in between the spring and the spring mounting bolt, and then kind of wraps around the axle housing itself. So the hydraulic bump has a nice solid spot to hit and not wear through the axle tube itself. And then the second portion is the bracket and the bump stop. This will go in place of the stock bump stop bracket, so we'll have to grind off 4 rivets in these locations. These underside ones are going to be a little tricky, maybe, we'll see. And then we'll pop those out, put the new bolt them in, and then I think because we have the extra leaf in the springs, we're going to use the spacer so it'll sit down.
The other one was tight.
So with this spacer ring on, it sits about like that, a little closer to the axle for the higher amount of lift, and then it clamps together and really creates a whole system on the rear end there. So Kurt here, my son, he's going to work on actually doing the work. I'm going to help him out with some of this power tool stuff, but for the most part, he's going to do all the work. So we'll head over here real quick and I'll show you where this is going to go, and then we'll get right into it. All right, so we're at the back of the truck now, just to give you a little visual verification here. This is the bracket we'll be removing here. So we'll unbolt our reservoir, swing that out of the way so we don't have any, we don't come close to damaging this or nicking the hose. And we got 2 rivets down underneath here. We'll pop that off, and then this bracket will just go right back in its place there. And we may need to mess with our bracket here, move that a little bit, or swing it over to the other side. We'll have to see how that all works out, but should be pretty simple for the most part. I think just removing these rivets is going to be the most time-consuming part. So we'll get this thing jacked up and start going.
So we're back after the install, and all we did basically was take off the existing bracket that was here, and we used the angle grinder to shear off the ends of the bolts. This is the bracket that was existing there. It was in there, and then there was like rivets that went through it, and we had to take the grinder and just grind them off, which my dad did that. And then in the existing holes, we put these bolts in with the nuts on the back, and we tighten those down so that's all solid and in there. And then for the landing point, because this is what the bump stop hits when when the suspension compresses. All we had to do was loosen these U-bolts that hold the leaf springs in, slide that under, and then tighten them back down.
I'd say this project was pretty simple. Anyone could really do it. The most difficult part about it was getting those rivets loose and getting those out. Definitely took a little bit more work than I anticipated. So, on the disassembly side of it, I'd say, it's like a 5 or a 6, just because you got to get in there. You're right next to the gas tank and the shocks and stuff, so you don't want to dig anything up. But then the actual installation is like a 2. It's super easy. 4 bolts. We're gonna have to move the reservoir a little bit, adjust that. It's currently rubbing on the bump stop, but just so you can get a general idea, we'll put a rub pad in between the two so that it's got something in the meantime, and then either space that out or just flip it around to the other side. But